Every legislative session, bills are introduced that aim to minimize accountability for criminals while failing to keep Mainers safe. This session is no different, as numerous bills have been introduced that will undoubtedly put countless Mainers at risk in pursuit of a dangerous ideology that believes our criminal justice system is inherently unjust. Hello, I'm Senator David Haggan of Penobscot County. I have the honor of representing 9 communities in Penobscot County and 3 communities in Hancock County. I serve on the Health, Coverage, Insurance, and Financial Services Committee and Judiciary Committee. Despite the introduction of extreme pro-criminal bills every legislative session, I never cease to be amazed at just how poorly thought out these radical proposals really are. Earlier this month, the Judiciary Committee held a public hearing on LD 340. This bill would force courts to dismiss cases if a defendant's trial did not commence within a predetermined time frame. The U.S. Constitution protects an individual's right to a speedy trial, of course, but this bill goes too far and would result in case dismissals that do not consider victim impact or public safety. The timeframes for the commencement of a trial in LD 340 are not realistic. The Health, Environmental Testing, Laboratory, Forensic Chemistry section of the Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention even stated that the lab may not even be capable of processing evidence within the timeframes proposed by this bill. This bill's poorly thought out nature is highlighted by the organizations that have spoken out against it. The Maine Prosecutors Association, Sheriff's Association, Chiefs of Police Association all spoke against this bill because of concerns about the dangerous dismissal of cases. Soft on crime legislators have also introduced LD 268, an act to restore sentencing discretion to the judiciary by removing mandatory minimum sentences of incarceration. This bill would eliminate all mandatory sentences that have been enacted by the legislature. It would allow even the most violent offenders to be released with little more than a slap on the wrist if they can convince an activist judge they shouldn't be sentenced to jail time. Mandatory minimums exist to keep the public safe from those who commit the most heinous crimes. The legislature's current sentencing guidelines have been thoroughly vetted and approved by the legislature. To undo all of that work in pursuit of the belief that criminals are really the victims is dangerous to law-abiding Mainers. In addition to legislation that will result in countless dismissals and lenient sentences for criminals, there is also a proposal to guarantee housing to criminals recently released from prison. LD 244, an act to provide safe short-term housing to indigent individuals recently released from correctional facilities, would provide transitional housing to recently released inmates. While we have veterans and law-abiding Mainers struggling to find housing, some radical lawmakers want to guarantee housing to those who violated the law. Why would we allocate considerable taxpayer funds for criminals when we don't have the money to provide safe housing for children and families? As a member of the Judiciary Committee, I listened to public hearings on many of these soft on crime bills. Sheriffs, chiefs of police, prosecutors, they all recognize the dangers of legislation like the bills I've just mentioned. We've seen how these policies have played out in cities like San Francisco and New York, where criminals face few repercussions. Legislative Republicans will continue to fight to preserve Maine's status as one of the safest states in the nation. If you agree that Maine doesn't need California's soft on crime policies, reach out to your legislators and tell them to put law-abiding Mainers first. Again, I'm Dave Haggan, Senator of Penobscot County. Thank you for listening, and make sure to follow Maine Senate Republicans on Facebook, Instagram, and X.